Okay,
Hello, everybody. Guess what? We are alive on the internet.
Wow.
Oh, I need to do that. My name's Alice. I'm with the Imagination Foundation, and I'm here with Steve Sherman from Living Maths in Cape Town, and also a wonderful cohort of international educators that Steve frequently collaborates with. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Steve is the pirate. Yes. We have Tatyana, the cat. Why don't we go around and introduce ourselves really quickly, and then we'll go from there. How about we start with Ms. Janet?
Okay. My name is Janet Barnstable. I'm a retired educator, currently now the program manager for the Global Virtual Classroom.
Wow.
We work internationally with students from kindergarten through 12th grade, and we have a collaborative website design contest where 3 schools from 3 different countries work together to create one website.
Can you share that link in the chat? And I will copy the chat at the end of this and share it with everybody who's tuning in.
Certainly can.
Thank you, Janet. Kathy?
Hello, greetings from Austria. I live near the Italian-Slovenian border, and I teach at an upper secondary vocational school here in St. Veit an der Glan. I'm one of the co-founders of HLW Skypers, a group of 200 ardent and enthusiastic teachers who love to Skype 24/7, teachers who love to share, teachers, just love to talk and share. Thank you.
Wait, really quick, what does HLW Skypers stand for?
It's an abbreviation for Hello Little World. It's also the abbreviation from my school, Höhere Bundeslehranstalt für wirtschaftliche Berufe. We took the HLW and put it into Hello Little World. That's how we got started.
Got it. Love it. All right, and on to Maria. Oh, I can't see Maria, so we're going to go to Sebastian, but we'll come back to Maria.
I'm in India. I teach teachers to teach online. I'm a social edupreneur from India. I run a group called Social Networking Homes, empowering women, the marginalized and poor people here. I teach them to use technology and leverage it.
All right. And, feel free to share all the links that you mentioned in the chat, as we will share that at the end. Steve, can you introduce Steve?
I think we're going to go back to Maria. Maybe Maria's back again?
Oh, yes. Okay,
yeah.
Back to Maria. Hello.
Hello. Greetings from the end of the world. I'm from Argentina. I teach English from home. I'm actually waiting for 2 of my students. I don't know if they're going to show up. It's been a while since I've been hanging out with this amazing group of people and educators.
Welcome, Maria. Steve?
And then, of course, Tatyana.
Oh, we're going to come back to Steve. Sorry, Tatyana.
I'll be last. It's fine.
Got it.
Hello, my name is Tatyana. I'm an English teacher from Moscow, Russia. I used to work with children with different disabilities. Now I work at a language school. I really like collaborating with my colleagues, as I can see how it motivates my students. We've done lots of things together. Well, that's why I find inspiration in every session, and every day, 24/7.
All right. Thanks, Tatyana. And last but not least, Steve, the token math magician.
Well, I wouldn't call myself that. I mean, I'm just an enthusiastic educator that feels that, being confined to one classroom is certainly not enough. And I've always had this dream of connecting with schools and teachers around the world. And, of course, through the structure of the HLW Skypers, we've managed to knock down many walls, and we certainly are able to share and help each other out And like Kathy said, it is 24/7, 365 days a year and a quarter, that literally there's always someone in the group when you want to share an idea or post an article that you think would be of interest to other teachers. And there's this, these are people who are habitual sharers. They can't stop. And from an educational point of view, it's just, I find incredible from a resource point of view that things just keep coming all the time, but then people are equally sharing it out all the time. So as an educator, it's not only great to collaborate, but also if I want to share my joy for mathematics and problem solving and brain teasers, I have access to classrooms around the world where I get to share that passion. So for me, it's a win-win, and I think that just judging from the connections that we as educators have with each other, a lot of us know things about each other, even despite the fact that we haven't actually met in real life. Although some of us have, there are a couple of IT conferences that happen around the world, and a few of us actually get together and connect, and it's almost as if we picked up where we left off online. So it really is a special community of teachers, and I consider them my friends. I don't consider them as just colleagues, because we are there every day talking to each other.
Right. Well, are you guys all, I want to know how you guys came to know each other. I know there's AHLW Skypers. Was that really the umbrella under which you guys met, or was it through various different portals? I'd love to hear a little bit of your individual stories of how you came to collaborate as an international group.
Well, I met Brad Pete in January 2011. Accidentally, I think, on Skype. I don't know how, but Brad Pete, who teaches in southern Texas, and we started, my class and his class started talking. It was brilliant. My students just couldn't get enough of it, and so we started looking for other classrooms, and that's how we started to expand, 2, 4, 8, 16, and so forth. At the moment, we have more than 200 teachers spread throughout the entire world, collaborating and sharing ideas.
Wow. Anybody else want to share their story?
Maybe start with Janet. How did you get connected?
Well, I've been doing this online stuff since about 1980, way back with 300 baud modems, if you can imagine that, and a free 800 number provided by the State of Illinois Board of Education. I've been participating in the Global Virtual Classroom as a teacher from 1994 on. Was lucky enough to win with my students a trip to Hong Kong in 2000, where there I met some of the people that are in HLW Skypers, Chris Betcher for one, and through these connections, various people said, well, you know what, there's this group of teachers that gets together and talks together, and you should join them. And I didn't pay any attention for a while. So yeah, okay. Well, nobody told me where the group was, and then Alexandra from Poland finally told me. She said, "This is where the group is," and she added me. And I have already had been on Skype anyhow, so that wasn't new. And finally found the group. Finally found the people, and I said, oh my goodness, these people are marvelous. They're everything I wish all my partners in crime in the education system would be. And believe me, if we could run a school with these 200 teachers, we'd knock the world on their butts.
I agree on that one. And Maria, how did you get to connect?
Yeah, I was thinking about that, what everybody remembers who introduced us to the group. I think it's like their maid. What is the name of that person who helps a woman to give birth? Yes.
Oh, midwife.
So, well, my midwife to this wonderful thing was someone who is not here right now. His name is Michael, and he's from Australia. And he said, hey, you know, I participate in this group. And I said, I want to be part of that. And he just copied and pasted, and he said, check your Skype or something like that. And I was, boom, I was there. And that's kind of a wonderful journey together with other educators who are as crazy as me, right?
Sure. And Sebastian?
Yes, I remember Brad Pitt inviting me to speak about Indian independence movement in his history class from USA. Since then, I am here, and I made a presentation to Katherine's class as well, about Indian history. There is one time once I was also interviewed from Austria, because in India not many teachers are online. It seems me, an unteacher who is not into teaching at all, is the only one active in a global platform like this. So I try my level best to bring more and more people, and I have educated stay-at-home mothers whom I mentor, help them work online, sell online, do things online to earn money as well for them, because we need an economic reason to be on internet, it seems.
And Tatyana, how did you get involved?
Well, I'm a part of, well, I first joined different educational communities and made friends with some Australian teachers. And once a merchant from Australia invited me to this group. Well, I was trying to remember while you were talking when I joined the group. I can't remember. I have a feeling I have always belonged to it for a long time. Well, I feel happy to be here, and I always miss my friends when I'm in the country on holidays and can't connect, and the connection is slow.
I mean, I actually agree with Tatyana. For me, I can't remember who it was that brought me into the group. I do remember I was looking for groups to connect with, and I'm not sure who the person was that I connected with, but somehow the group found us. And what has happened is that when we meet like-minded people, we bring them into the group. So we become the midwives. And then all of a sudden, some of these people become the midwives. And I suspect that in the next few years, our group of 200 will be 400 sooner than you think.
Is HLW Skypers going to be renamed the Midwives? Midwives of the world?
Because we do give a lot of birth to ideas and creativity, so it's a wonderful venue for it to happen. The miracle of life.
Steve, I would love for you to, just because I know when I first spoke with you and you talked about this international community, I seem to have a mental block around understanding what it looked like on a day-to-day basis. You know, I think that you guys are all dropping clues. It's 24/7. You're there for each other. You're like-minded educators, and you find each other because you have an affinity and a shared philosophy. But I would love for you to sort of walk us through what a typical day in the life of Steve Sherman in relation to this group is, just to help people understand exactly how what it looks like.
Bearing in mind that mine is not a normal day, and I'm not a normal person, so...
And Steve never sleeps.
And I never sleep. So what happens effectively is I teach a few thousand kids a week in Cape Town, South Africa, and I do that from about 7 in the morning till about 4:30 in the afternoon. And then what happens is, generally in between the times that I'm teaching, sometimes I'm bringing one of the classes that I'm with to another teacher in somewhere in the world, where we will get the kids to collaborate and chat to each other, whether it's Stefan in Denmark, or perhaps even having Maria chat to a group of our kids at one part of the day. There's always a chance to collaborate. Just today, in fact, one of my students unfortunately went through a difficult time, and they had to remove a growth in her brain, and she's been going through chemo and radiation therapy, and today it's been about 5 or 6 months now, and today was the first time that she could ever connect with anyone in her class, because she's not allowed to have visitors due to her low immune system, and we got all the kids in the class to Skype with her, and I think for her it was such a special moment that she got to connect with all her peers, and they could actually ask her questions about her condition. They could find out that she's actually doing okay, and it was a wonderful learning experience by bringing someone, and they could have been at home, they could have been in another country. It's about, you know, flattening the walls and making us accessible to everyone. So while I'm doing that during the day, I then come home and do a little bit of admin, because, you know, when you're running a program for a few thousand kids, there's a little bit of admin involved. And of course, I've got to spend some time with my family. So we've got to do homework with the kids, and I've got to spend some time with my wife, because HLW is my other wife. So I spend time with my wife, and then I go to my other wife. It's more like my mistress. And
oh boy.
And she's available 24/7, which is quite unique. And then, of course, what happens is when everyone starts going to sleep, I then have access to the internet, where a lot of the schools in America start waking up, and it's the early part of the day for them. So that fits perfectly with me, because then I can jump into classes, we can run sessions together. I would literally say that I work a 20-hour day in many cases, which is not very healthy, and I'll be the first to tell you that it's not healthy, and I am trying to reduce that to 19 hours, and I'm hoping, if all goes well, I'll be able to succeed. But there's just so much out there that I just don't want to miss it. You know, it's about sharing, it's about learning. I mean, one teacher will post a link on the HLW group, and all of a sudden that puts a bee in my bonnet. Yesterday we were saying that the 21st of September is International Peace Day. So we were thinking, well, what can we do for Peace Day? And then within a few minutes, there was a Google Doc made up, and everyone starts adding to the Google Doc, and then all of a sudden, boom, that gets posted on the Global Virtual Classroom website. So it's not just, you know, habitual sharing, it's like instantaneous and enthusiastic sharing. So you actually feel very empowered when you are not only with a group of people who say that they want to do something, they actually go and do it. And that's what makes it so exciting to keep coming back for more.
Wow.
I hope that kind of explained my day.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize how little you slept. I knew that you packed a lot in a single 24-hour cycle, and, you know, trying to piece together the clues, it makes sense. It makes a lot more sense.
Sometimes I get a 25-hour day, but that's not too often.
A true magician. You know, I know that people who are tuning in would love to hear a little bit more about sort of the different, maybe the unique challenges that you face in each of your countries, and opportunities as well, and how that plays in the global exchange. Does anybody want to weigh in on that? Perhaps Janet.
I was just answering Tatyana, who has to leave us because she has to get up in just a few hours.
So thank you, Tatyana. Maybe Tatyana wants to speak before she runs out.
Tatyana, let's jump to you for a second before you have to go.
Okay. It's not easy to speak because my eyes start closing. I have to get up really early.
Most of us are not.
So I think I will catch up with your discussions tomorrow after I finish my classes. Good luck with your discussions. We'll miss you till tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks, Tatyana. Well, if I can say for Tatyana, I know that connectivity is sometimes an issue. And I think it happens in all countries, that some days you get good days and some days you get some not so good days when it comes to connectivity. What's also unique about Tatyana in her previous setup was that she had students with various levels of ability, and and some of the students were patching in online as well to a session. So we literally, and you can see some of the photographs that we had, I'm sure we can find them, where she had 3 or 4 students who were patching in via Skype or Hangout to a Skype that I was having with that group. So that they were just holding up the laptops in the actual session so that they could be a part of the actual session, which was quite incredible. And then, of course, in India, I mean, when I first started teaching, I was teaching in a school out in a very remote area of India, and the school was Tatyana Gurukul, and they were a school that had no electricity, but they had a full computer lab, and that is because the founders of the school became engineers and they were employed, and they felt that they wanted to go back to their very poor village and start up a school, and they got investors involved, and they built the school. And what is interesting is they run everything off a generator because they just don't have electricity in that environment, but they felt that IT was critical. So they also struggle a lot with connectivity, and we had to be creative with trying to use Skype and Google Hangout over a very, very low broadband line, and sometimes it was text, and you try to teach a math lesson that way, it can be quite challenging. So I'm sure that Sebastian has experienced. We were having a session we were supposed to have a session with Sebastian last week, and Sebastian, what happened?
The last minute, the schools went backward because there was some rain, and rain causes holidays, and schools are flooded, and it is automatically a rain holiday. So the schedule had to be changed for examinations, and they said on 30th it is not possible.
So that purely was a force of nature that caused a rain holiday, which caused kids to just not come to school, and exam changes, and all of a sudden, boom, a big event that was planned didn't happen.
Is that rescheduled? Is it planning? Are you planning to have it in the near future?
Will happen again. We're planning.
Rescheduling it. In fact, I have a story to tell as well. When I started with say British friends for my stay-at-home mothers, both parties complained that they cannot spend enough time with their children. At the British side, they said they have no time for their parents. The teachers said we can't spend quality time with our parents. Okay, and here the mothers were worried that the younger children are using internet for going into the not so safe areas. So what I did was I connected the senior citizens in UK with the juniors here, and I formed a conversation club. So many of us were sitting together and chatting, and the juniors benefited from the sagely wisdom of the senior people, and they improved their English conversation as well. So I was interviewed by the TV, and the YouTube video Dhanam for teenagers shows this young boy started teaching others online English communication skills, and they became my first online teachers in Kerala when they were 12 years old.
Wow. That is cool.
The video link is
there.
there.
Like these people. It's incredible.
Is this link the YouTube done for teenagers? Is that right?
That's the one. Yes, that's the one.
Okay. Exactly. Yes. Dhanam means wealth in Sanskrit. So.
What does it mean?
Dhanam means wealth.
Oh, wealth.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. So you see, we're learning all the time. In fact, what I find interesting is that Maria is tutoring one of her students, and they're doing conversational English. So what's going to happen is Maria is probably going to be watching it live on YouTube now, and the student will be listening in, and they'll be discussing what is actually being said in this particular discussion. So it really does help to promote foreign languages if you want to learn. I mean, I know that Kathy, you've been involved with Reinhardt in Germany doing certain things. I know that when it comes, in fact, interesting story, Stefan from Denmark asked me to help his Danish students to improve their Danish reading. And I don't speak Danish. So I said, you know, I love a challenge. So how do you teach Danish kids to speak Danish if you don't speak it yourself? So the trick was, I asked him for a very simple poem, and a Danish poem which he sent to me, and then I created a word search from this poem of all the key words that I figured were key words. And then what I did was I had the kids sitting in the classroom and I read the poem to them in my worst Danish possible. And they were in hysterics, they were laughing, but what they were doing is they were correcting me. And he said that they didn't realize it, but they were actually reading through the poem and correcting me, which means they were reinforcing the actual vocabulary. And then I sent them the word search, and they had to try and find some of the key words in that word search. And once again, reinforcing the reading. And they had the best lesson ever, and they didn't realize that I was actually trying to improve their Danish. So, you know, even if you don't speak the language, there are always creative ways that you can connect with teachers in other parts of the world and make a positive difference.
I just wrote a comment on the Q&A comments events page. I'm just adding it right now. But basically, how do you teach Danish to kids when you don't speak Danish?
Well, you got the answer
there. Let the kids correct you. Your shame is their gain.
and that's exactly what it was. I mean, I'm quite happy to make a fool of myself in front of those students if it's going to empower them to feel better about themselves.
And I think that's a real key issue, is that none of us mind looking like fools. We love laughing with the kids and even having them laugh at us. That's
Correct.
perfectly all right.
Right.
But a good teacher is like that. And I think one of the nicest things that I feel as a teacher is that whenever you watch people, you pick up their positive attributes, the kinds of things you want to bring into your own personality. And when I watch each of these individual teachers teaching in a classroom or connecting with me, I'm picking up little bits from each person and I'm trying to improve on what I offer as a teacher. And I think that my association with all of these crazy teachers over the past year or so has led me to become a much better person and a better teacher. And the number of resources that I have and the ridiculous amount of professional development that takes place, it's insane. I mean, someone will say, you know, I've just discovered a brand new program, let's try it out. And all of a sudden we are all testing it out. And that led me to one of the activities. We've got Jason, who's also in the US, who's going to be joining us as well. That led us to a situation where someone tried a quiz called Kahoot. And Kahoot is an online quiz started by these two young guys. And basically, you create a quiz, and then you share the questions out with people, and they take part in this live quiz. And their responses are recorded, so you can actually see who got the answer first. So you can have, let's say, 25 countries taking part, and kids in all over the schools taking part. So let's say, I don't know, 400 participants, and the first person to answer correctly, their name goes on the leaderboard. So you can actually make it quite a fun social experience. So what happened was, we tried this experiment, and then I got hold of the CEO of Kahoot because I wanted to try and find out how we can enhance this quiz to better suit our global situation. And that resulted in a 2-hour chat with them yesterday, and I shared some of my ideas and they shared some of their ideas, and now they want to start getting some of the HLW teachers to test drive a few of the new features that they want to launch, because they feel that going global is what the quiz should be all about. And yeah, I'd be very excited to try the quiz on you guys tonight.
Can we try it?
Let's try it. I mean, I don't know how many. Yeah?
Can we meet Jason for a second?
Let's meet Jason. Jason, want to introduce yourself?
Let me unmute Jason. Let me give Jason a voice. One moment. Or maybe Jason has to unmute himself. Let's see.
I got to unmute.
There we go.
I got to unmute myself.
Okay. Free yourself. Free your voice.
Yeah, let me fix my camera a little bit. I'm working off of a document camera, because the new software doesn't work with my my camera, so I got to get another camera.
No worries.
How is everybody?
We're good. We're good. So now tell us where you're from and what do you do?
I'm an 8th grade social studies teacher from Hickory, North Carolina. And, I mean, that's about it.
How long have you been a part of HLW?
Probably about 2 years now. And I know and Steve and I have talked a few times.
In fact, when I was doing a teachers conference somewhere out in South Africa, you know, it's always nice to just go online, and then if the US teachers are up in the morning, in fact, we've got Laura Hill also joining us now, also in the USA.
Hello,
and
how are you?
What is amazing is that, you know, Jason's always available, as all the other teachers are. I can just put in a request. If someone can't make it, we don't ever feel, you know, you disappointed me, you let me down. You know, there are some times when technology, unfortunately, lets us down purely because of the circumstances. And one of the issues was, you might, and Alice, you would know, a certain inventor of a cup that that in fact, I think I saw the article about her through you, and this young girl, I was about to interview her at 7 p.m. and then all of a sudden there was a power cut. So I had to get into my car and take my cell phone with me, drive around until I could find a decent 3G signal, and then connect my laptop so that I could do the interview. And literally, as the interview ended, the battery of my laptop died. So, and if people had watched it, they would have thought, oh, look, it looks like he's got an unusual background. I was sitting in my car in the neighborhood. But sometimes you have to also have a backup plan when technology lets you down. And what's so nice about working with these teachers is that they are patient, they understand this. When there's an issue, for example, Jason will say that, you know, his software and the camera are not working. He might put that out in the Skype group, and we just start throwing ideas. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? And eventually, we do a lot of problem solving together as a group as well, which I think is pretty cool.
Problem-solving tech support.
That's exactly. Well, we do a lot of that. A lot of that. And then maybe Laura, you want to introduce yourself and say where you're from?
Yeah, this is Laura joining you from New York right now. Hi, everyone. I was out at a meeting, but I'm here now, which is great. I'm an author. I write children's books, and my young daughters come and we speak in schools to children about getting their ideas into the world. And I also run a chat called What is School? And that talks to people and brings a community of educators together who are trying to figure out how we're changing from an industrial to a global communications-based teaching society, and how we can make changes that will help our students be better prepared for their futures instead of waiting for others to make those futures for us. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and I can vouch for Laura. I was very fortunate to be interviewed with Laura through one of the Twitter chats, and I introduced her to Google Hangout. And
yes,
she thought it was quite a novel thing, because normally a Twitter chat is just people sitting on their mobile devices and reading the feed that comes in and adding their comments. But now what happens is people could watch us two engaging face-to-face live while tweeting. And I thought that brought a whole new dimension to the Twitter chat itself.
I do too. I mean, there were thousands of people tuning in, and I think it made it increase the excitement of what we were doing so much more, because people were so interested in what you were saying about global classrooms that now they felt like you were right there, and that they could reach out and touch this very real person, and it wasn't something remote. It was something that they could accomplish too. So I thought that part was really exciting. Yeah, good stuff.
So just to clarify, basically when you're running the Twitter chat, you set up a Google Hangout, and then people are able to watch you as you're tweeting, or is that,
when Steve
we
came on,
broadcasted live on YouTube.
Exactly. When he came on, usually we just Twitter chat with each other, and we get a really good response. Our response is usually about 6,000 tweets per hour, and we reach about 2.2 million people. But that just means educators are really, really interested in this topic. When Steve came on, we had already set him up and talked about some global classroom ideas, and the other teachers were really interested in how they could use this to help children who were unchallenged or children who were underperforming or even children who weren't getting any education at all. So he set up the chat. I think he did it just to put a little crown on me. But he set up the chat and introduced that, and because I didn't really know what was going to happen, it increased that excitement too. And people responded in an amazing way. I think the whole thing, having the video for them to play later and having the chat archive, was a huge success, just incredible success. So it was good stuff.
And I've had a lot of feedback. A lot of teachers keep contacting me and asking, how can we collaborate? How can we connect together? And Alice is also very involved with the Global Cardboard Challenge, and she has set up a group of people who are organizing the Global Cardboard Challenge in their countries. And already I'm now connecting with teachers, and hopefully I'll be working in their classrooms and trying to get their kids to do problem solving, and it's not only mathematics. We do other things as well for the high school students. We've done some interesting sociology and social history projects. So it's really about just connecting and making this world the small place that it really is.
I think a lot of educators see all these small pieces popping around. They see exciting, sizzling technology, or they see an exciting methodology that they want to put in place. But when you do something like this, it gives them a bigger picture of where we're heading as educators. I'm a concerned parent. I have children who are going through this process, and their future relies on you. So for me to be involved in this and to be able to speak from the bottom up, from the students up, for them to understand how much opportunity that they have right now, and for teachers to see a bigger picture and say, hey, I'm going to take control of this and drive this ship without letting business and government steer it as much as they like to. You know, we're going to see this amazing future unfold, and we are going to be so lucky to be able to sit back and really watch it happen. It's going to be amazing.
It's a very good point. Now, Kathy raised an interesting point. She wanted Janet to mention the Peace Idea Project. Just before she does that, I have to commend Janet, because Janet is an IT guru, okay? And when it comes to certain programs or any ideas, or, you know, do you know of a site where we can get photographs that we are allowed to download that are royalty-free and that type of thing, or do you know where we can get? Janet is a wealth of information. So I always use Janet. She's my first Google, and then I go to the other Google. And not only does she do that, but she also maintains the global virtual classroom website, and she's involved with a few other things. And obviously the one thing is the Peace Project. So maybe, Janet, you want to just speak a little bit about that as well?
Well, you had mentioned it earlier, Steve. It was, you know, born of the groups mentioning that the Peace Day, International Peace Day, was September 21st. Usually we put something together every year for peace and let it kind of go on all year, because not everybody can do things in September, depending on where in the world they are. And along with that, someone else mentioned International Dot Day, which is, you know, be creative with a dot, make a dot and do something with it, anything. And so we started talking around that and said, well, maybe we could kind of put all these things together a bit and get our dots and our peace ideas. And then Katherine mentioned the European Languages Day, which again is near the end of September. So maybe we could fit all of these things into one large September-ish project that can be done at the leisure of the people that are able to do it when they are able to do it. So I did put the link on the in the chat. We've generated ideas and just put together all of these ideas from all of the people, and we're planning on doing a little something for international, or, well, it's not international yet, Volunteerism Day, which is on September 11th, to commemorate the people who lost their lives in the 9/11 destruction of the buildings. Because those people were actually from the whole world, this volunteerism in their honor, a day of volunteering, a day of service, is an honor to them, remembering them. And then going on with some ideas for Dot Day and some ideas for Peace Day, and putting the whole thing together. We have the ideas so far floating around out there are a voice thread with a dot or a classroom dot or a group of dots, or as the person setting this up said, maybe we'll put all of our dots into a huge peace symbol, so the individual dots make a large dot that is also the peace symbol, and then people can add to the voice thread with their school's dots, or a picture of their school's dots, or a representative dot from their school, and a peace message using voice thread. Another idea was a Padlet, where I believe the phrase was "peace begins with me," or "peace starts with me," or something. I don't remember the exact words that Lorraine in Boston had come up with, and that phrase translated into all of the different languages around the world, which is a fantastic idea. So, you know, we put all of these ideas up. We're still generating more. Steve is working on a quiz, and I'm assuming it will be a Kahoot quiz.
That's correct. That's correct.
Bringing it back to Kahoot.
Yeah, and we're back to Kahoot.
Okay, so should we test out Kahoot and see how it works?
I think we have to try it. Should I invite anybody who's tuning in to do it, or is it how many people can it handle?
What's going to happen is I'm going to share my screen if all goes well.
Okay.
You should be able to see the website that you need to go to. If you click on my actual little window at the bottom of the screen, you should see it says kahoot.it, and the PIN code is 70638.
Mm-hmm. And we're all doing this, right?
That's correct.
To kahoot.it. I'm just going to give this extra info.
I'm assuming that's the right quiz code, yeah, okay. So when you've done that, it takes you into a screen where you will see, it says, enter your nickname, and you can just type in your nickname.
Here watching you. Putting the watchers in there.
And I'm just going to load my screen to see. Oh, wait a second. Has it given me a different? Oh, I've got Alice at Imagines. I've got Jason, Kathy, and Janet, who are part of it so far. And hopefully we'll just give we've got Sebastian from India. Maybe the people who are watching YouTube want to try and give it a bash. So at the moment we've got 5 players. So let's assume you've got 3,000 players. We'll just make it a little bit more exciting. So what's going to happen is I'm now going to share my Kahoot screen. So let me go back to the share screen. This is actually quite exciting because I love trying new things. Let's go to share. And now I've got to find that window. Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to open up my Kahoot screen, and while that's how are we going to do this? I've got to try and share the screen, but I've got Google Hangout in another tab, so let's see if we can do that. Let me open up another session. Am I able to do this? This is a challenge.
This is a challenge, but we will solve it together.
Let me click on Kahoot. Oh, you see, this is going to be interesting. Now we've got a few more people joining us. We have to try and find a way to share this screen. So if I'm going to try and open up another session of. Oh, wait, you know what I can do? I can open up Internet Explorer. Let's try that. You see, this is what problem solving is all about. We're going to test something that we haven't done yet. Okay, so Internet Explorer will open, and then I will try and share that screen. And hopefully, if all goes well, we will have success. So let's see. Okay, let me just see who's signed up at the moment.
I'm in.
I put a little invitation to the public.
Brilliant. I'm just waiting for the Internet Explorer. Is taking a while to load up. Let's see if we can, and type this. And hopefully this window will work.
All right. Crossing fingers.
Holding thumbs.
Multiple. Oh, holding thumbs. Holding thumbs.
Oh, I think we have success. You know what? I think it's given us a new quiz number.
Okay, should we try that?
So we try the new quiz number. Now I'm not sure if that's my music. Can you hear music from me?
No.
No.
Well, I'm hearing music on my screen here. All right, so try 20625.
Okay, 20625. Let me tell them. New code.
Just refresh your screen.
New.
It says we don't recognize that game pin.
Let's see.
I'm not going to share
Yeah,
that.
no, it worked. 20625. And if I type in 20625.
Okay. 625.
And mine is in.
I'm doing it again, and it's thinking.
Yeah, mine's spinning.
625. You can also do a hard refresh by adding Shift to. I work on a Mac, but it's Command R plus Shift, and it resets the page more completely.
All right. So, wait. I hope it might be jumping into the first question.
See, Alice.
Oh, it's already in the first question. Are any of you seeing that? Not at all.
Yes, I'm seeing it.
Are you seeing it?
Mm-hmm.
But I need to share that screen with you. So that was a bit of a fail. Let's try that again. So now.
I'm just getting a please wait.
There we go. There we go. Are you able to see that?
Yep. I see the 4 different shapes and colors.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was just a warm-up one. It was David's father has 3 children, snap, crackle, and of course you would have to pick the answer, and most people pick Pop, but the answer is actually David. Because if David's father has 3 children, David must be one of the children. Okay, so we'll try, now that we've got it working, the next question, are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is fun because I like learning new things as we go along.
I'm just glad I'm tied with Steve.
Okay. So at the moment we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in the competition, and no one got the answer right, but that's because we kind of missed the first question. But the next question, no excuses. Are we ready?
Okay, we're ready.
Okay, 200 divided by a half.
Where are the answers, though?
It's either if you look at my screen, and then you've got your screen that you've logged into. You've got to click on one of those shapes or colors.
Okay. Oh, got it. Okay.
I'll give you a chance to think about it.
Pressure's on.
How much time do we have? Oh, 4, 3, 2, 1. You know, my screen doesn't have the numbers. It only has the shapes.
Yes, correct. It only has the shapes. And I asked the guys who invented it what is the reasoning behind that? And they basically said to me that most people, when they're watching the quiz, they're all looking at the board. Here, everyone gets to look at their own device.
Okay,
which I think was very interesting, the way they approached that. Okay, so now what will happen is once you've answered that question, it says that 3 people answered it correctly. And if we go to the next, it now puts us into a different category of points, because the faster you answer it, the higher your points.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's encouraging you to get the answers quite quickly. Okay, are we ready for the next question?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What is my chance of rolling an even number on a die and your options are...
I answered, but I don't know if I was using my
If
brain.
you answered, that's fine. It keeps going until everyone's answered or until the time runs out.
Even though I feel like my answers are like 2 + 2 = fish.
And time is up. And of course the answer was a half, and we all did pretty well on that one. So then, of course, this is the final scoreboard, and Jason cruised through at the top there. He managed to squeeze in just before Alice. Now, you can imagine when you've got, let's say, 40 kids in classrooms around the world, and you're doing flags of different countries, or you're doing famous people from different countries, what actually ends up happening is that the kids are competing against each other. There's a lot of excitement, and you actually have a leaderboard where it could be Jason and in brackets US. Alice, US, SA, etc., etc. And if we go along to the end of the quiz, it says that Jason was the winner. He got 2 correct and 0 incorrect. And then you'll notice it says feedback and results. Why is that so important? Well, if I click on feedback and results, it will actually give me a document that I can download the final results. I can actually download a spreadsheet of who answered what, how quickly they answered the question, and you know, you don't have to use this as a quiz. You could use this as a survey. I could create a survey and say, what did you think of this particular hangout? And I could ask you, pick a number from 1 to 10 for, did you enjoy this, 1 being no, 10 being yes, and of course people could rate it, and then I could get the results of the survey, which is also quite exciting.
That's fun.
So you can see it's actually quite a cool application, in my opinion. And like I said, they are looking for ways to encourage people. So I was thinking, why not create a World Peace Day one? And what will happen is we'll ask questions about peace, and people from around the world will run the session maybe 3 or 4 times, and people around the world can take part in the session. And then hopefully we can have a leaderboard and maybe even post the results on the screen. And of course, Ava. Hello, Ava. Did you enjoy Kahoot?
Hi, Ava.
Can she make up a quiz to do with her friends?
Yes, she can. In fact, what is really cool is my daughters. No, but you could create your own quiz. I mean, what's happened is my kids, they stand here with their iPads every night, and they want to know which quiz we're going to do. And because what I like about Kahoot is that people upload their quizzes and make them public. So we did, for example, a quiz on all the Disney cats. So they will show you a cat and say, which Disney movie was this from? And it tests your age because you either know them or you don't. and that was quite a surprising quiz because you don't actually know as much as you think you do.
That always happens. We always don't know as much as we think we do.
So hopefully you guys will investigate Kahoot. So now if you want to create your own quiz, then you go to Get Kahoot. This is getkahoot.com. That is the actual website to create an account and make quizzes and that type of thing. And it's just such a fun way to add the music and the tension and the point system, but you don't have to do it that way. You can obviously take out the time frames. There's a lot of modifying that you can do to the quiz to make it a little bit more enjoyable for kids of different ages.
Looks like a lot of fun. Just bookmark that one for sure.
It really is.
Even with those questions.
Yeah.
But now we've obviously realized you can't have Kahoot open on one window and then running a Google Hangout on another window in another tab. So we've now realized that if you run it on 2 separate browsers, problem is solved.
There you go.
Yeah. When you're doing an experiment with technology, I have found that the troubleshooting or the pre-session is always really, really helpful.
But there's nothing greater than doing it live at the moment and realizing if I don't want to look like a fool, I better get this working. So there's a little bit of motivation to solve that problem much quicker.
Right, it activates the adrenaline. You know, we only have a few more minutes left in this chat, although, you know, everyone's most welcome to continue it after. But I wanted, for the purposes of people who are tuning in and wanting to, you know, take away something, lots of great ideas have been shared, but I'd love to take these next 5 minutes for you guys to weigh in on, you know, somebody who's interested in, you know, forming more of these types of connections and getting involved with the global community of educators that you're already a part of. What can they do? You know, do you have any advice for teachers that want to do more of this in their lives, in their classes?
Well, if I can answer quite simply, I think Janet has probably got a couple of links that you could share, which we've posted many times, and I think I've even shared it with Laura's groups as well, where they tell you how to get started, where to contact the Skype in education, and Google is now moving in that area as well. They also want to start getting involved in education, how to get involved with all of us and how to contact all of us, and how to start a Google Hangout, how to run a mystery Skype session. All of that is contained in a Google Doc, which I'm sure we can share if we can find it. We'll put it in our little posting over here, and I'm sure I'll find it over here while we're chatting, and then you'll be able to share it with those who are watching.
Yes, that'd be great, because I know that there's lots of people that hearing about what this has done for you and for your students, I think it's very exciting and makes you want to jump and strike while the iron's hot, you know. So.
Absolutely. I know that I've got one document here that I can share, and that is all about. I'll just post the links in the chat, and you can obviously share them afterwards with the viewers. But now, of course, if there's one thing I need to do before we do anything, I would love to at least do one math problem with you guys, because you know we were talking about math magicians and how we can make math exciting. And yes, we can do a Kahoot quiz, but wouldn't it be exciting if we could actually do a real-life math problem? And hopefully Ava will be able to assist us with this one, because is Ava gone?
She just ran out, but I think she's coming back.
Okay, she might come back. So I want to see if I can pose a quick question to you, and it was something that you alluded to a little bit earlier, Alice, in the blurb that you wrote about the session about king height and circumference, the knight. And I just wanted to actually demonstrate what it is all about. And we have over here a regular cup, and what I do is I tell kids the story, this is for the younger grades obviously, that there was once a king, and his name was King Height, and they called him King Height because everyone looked up at him and called him Your Highness. So obviously there was some level of height that he had, and King Height, what he did was he had some knights that were sitting at a round table, and there was an empty chair, and he called in the bravest person in the kingdom to take up that seat, and his name was Mr. Cumference, and he then knighted him and called him Circumference, and he asked Circumference, which would be bigger, the height of the king, and he stood up, or the length around the table, which then you explain to the kids the height is the height of the cup, or the circumference, which is the length around the cup. So I want to pose that question to you, which is bigger, the height of the cup or the circumference? Would you like to take a vote on this one? Who says the height of the cup is bigger?
Not me.
Who says the circumference is bigger?
Okay,
so the hands go up. So I see your circumference, and I'm going to raise you a box. Now, which is bigger? The height from the top of the box down to the bottom of the cup, or the circumference?
Height.
Who thinks the height? I've converted Kathy, okay?
Yeah,
I see your height, and I'm going to raise you a phone as well. Which is bigger, the height from the phone down to the bottom of the cup, or the circumference? Who says the height?
I can't think.
I see your height, and I'm going to raise you an extra box of cards. Now, which is bigger, the height or the circumference?
got to be the height. It's got to be the height.
But I still feel like
most people would agree. So what we're going to do is we're going to test it. And the way we test it is I'm just going to put this down because it's quite difficult to hold. I'm going to get
stuff randomly on your desk, Steve.
I do have, for example, a cord, which I have on my desk. So we're going to use this to measure the circumference. And because obviously you cannot use a ruler to measure circumference. It's a little bit too flat unless you have one of those bendy rulers. But if I place this around the edge and I go around the edge of the cup there and I stop there, this is the actual height. So the circumference of the cup. And if I hold it just here, I'll place it over here. Have a look how much longer it goes. In fact, there's one. Let's just do that. There's 1, 2, 2 1/3 cups. So clearly the circumference was much bigger, even with all those extra things added on, which is very surprising. And for me, the nicest thing about mathematics is not just to go and tell people how to do things. It's to give them a cup and ask them to explore. One of my favorite exercises is to say, here is a sheet of paper, A4 paper. In America, you call it letter size, which is slightly shorter, actually. Yeah. And you ask them, if I had to fold it this way around to make a tube, and I had to fill it with popcorn, or I had to fold it this way round to make a tube, so now it's the long way, which one will hold more popcorn?
They're both the same.
Or are they the same? And of course everyone says the same. But you need to go and test it out. I think you'll be surprised. And the best part is you get to eat the popcorn afterwards. So you can actually mathematically measure it. You can actually measure the circumference, and you can measure the height, and you can measure the diameter, and you can do a little bit of a volume calculation. But you can actually just take the popcorn and pour it in and check it out. And see what you come up with.
That makes sense. It does make sense now that I think of the math.
Right.
But you see, for me, if you want to get someone excited about math, you've actually got to give them things to be excited about. If I'm teaching you addition and subtraction, it doesn't necessarily have to be a very exciting section. But if I'm talking about running a market day, and I'm talking about the fact that you have to work out what your profits are, and perhaps a percentage of the profits you get to keep, you're going to realize that the more I make, the more I get to keep. How much would I need to make if I want to buy that object that I've been looking for so long? All of a sudden, the maths comes alive, and it has a value, and it's real, and it means something to you. And that's when you start to take the math seriously. But when it's just something that you have to do exercise after exercise, I can imagine teachers are not excited to teach it, and kids are not excited to learn it. So it's really about trying to find innovative ways to excite people about the numbers.
It's a really good point. I know Ava will be doing that one. That experiment, popcorn.
Thank you. I'm going to make sure I learn the answer and then trick my way into extra popcorn.
That's the way to do it. It's a great trick to try at a pub.
I just want to thank everybody for being part of this chat. I know that in a way I'm just jumping into your continuous chat that's happening 24/7, 366 days a week.
Sometimes 367, depending on when the leap year goes a bit wrong.
But I hope we'll stay in touch. I will definitely share all the Skype, the resource that you shared with me, Janet, and I'll try to pull out some of the links. If you have anything you want to share with people who are watching this, feel free to throw it in the chat, and then I'll throw it on some document. And I hope you'll stay in touch. And, of course, you're invited to join the Global Cardboard Challenge that Steve mentioned.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
Well, it's basically in its 3rd year, and it's an invitation to kids all over the world to build something amazing out of cardboard, recycled materials, and imagination. And it all came from a little movie called Kane's Arcade, which I urge you to check out, and you'll understand why there's so much excitement around the challenge, around the movie, and it'll actually give you some insight into how we came to being. But it's a great way to do some project-based learning and like let the kids really let their imaginations go wild, and it puts the kid at the center of the project. And I don't know, the feedback I get is just people are so happy to participate, kids, teachers, parents, everybody. So.
Well, I just want to show you something. I was teaching on Wednesday, and I noticed that one of the kids had made something out of cardboard, which I thought was pretty awesome. So I want to just share that picture with you, and you can see that he actually made a magnificent aeroplane.
Wow.
Can you see that? That's just absolutely awesome. So he used toilet rolls, and he made the little propellers, and at the back there, where his hand is, there's a little flap that it's being held by a magnet, but it comes down so that other tanks and things can come out of the actual plane.
Wow.
Amazing. Really great job.
It's absolutely awesome. So we're looking to try and get a lot of that on Global Cardboard Day here in Cape Town, and hopefully there'll be some in Austria and some in India, and maybe Laura at Ava's school, they would want to take part in the Global Cardboard Challenge Day and make amazing things out of cardboard. But you'll have to watch Kane's Arcade, the video, to see what it's all about.
Yeah, it gives some really great context. Anyway, all right, thank you so much for being a part of this, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day, wonderful weekend, wonderful month, and wonderful life.
This is just the beginning. So we're gonna get you involved in HLW so that we can be part and parcel. Because I've noticed a lot of overlap with a lot of the HLW teachers when you are doing things with the Imagination Foundation and you posting comments. All of a sudden, there are other people in other chats that are connected, and there's a lot of synergy. So we're looking forward to invite you to join us.
Okay, to synergize. I will cheers to synergizing.
Excellent. I will cheers to synergizing. Circumference or height.
All right, take care, everybody. I'm going to
Alex.
Bye-bye.
You'll send us the link. Bye-bye.
Yeah, for sure.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, Steve.
And then have you any broadcast?
Okay, I'm going to stop the broadcast. Wait, but we can stay on.